Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that frankly should be about as appealing as a prostate exam conducted by a bear wearing oven mitts. Pandemic mistakes. Yes, those things that we keep doing wrong over and over again, like we're collectively stuck in some sort of global game of pandemic whack-a-mole, except the moles are wearing tiny little masks and the hammer is made of wishful thinking. We're talking about the kind of blunders that would make a toddler in a lab coat say, well, that seems ill-advised. But look, the past is the past, even if it does seem to be repeating itself with the grim predictability of a broken record player stuck on. It's the end of the world as we know it. The point is, we're here to learn from our mistakes because, let's face it, the only thing worse than making a mistake once is making it twice or, 3 times or, well, you get the picture. So let's unpack the top 5 pandemic mistakes we keep repeating so we can hopefully, maybe, possibly avoid doing them again. Emphasis on hopefully. Okay, let's start with the big one, the absolute classic lack of preparedness. The idea that pandemics are somehow unforeseeable events, like a rogue meteor shower made entirely of hand sanitizer, is, to put it mildly, a load of malarkey. It's like saying we can't plan for a hurricane because we don't know when the wind might decide to get a little bit blowy. For years, experts have been warning us about the inevitability of pandemics, practically begging governments to invest in things like, stockpiles of PPE, robust testing infrastructure, and maybe, just maybe, a plan for what to do when a novel virus decides to go on a world tour. And what did we do? We basically hit the snooze button on those warnings, collectively choosing to believe that pandemics were something that happened to other people in other times, like plagues and powdered wigs. Then, surprise, surprise, a pandemic happens and we're all caught with our proverbial pants down, scrambling for toilet paper and desperately trying to remember how to bake bread. It's like watching a group of teenagers try to put together an IKEA bookshelf without instructions, except the stakes are slightly higher than a wonky bookcase. We've known about the threat of pandemics for decades. We even had a dress rehearsal with SARS and MERS. Yet time and time again we fail to adequately prepare. It's the geopolitical equivalent of leaving your homework until the morning it's due and then being surprised when you get a failing grade. But hey, at least we're consistent, right? Consistently unprepared, that is. Speaking of things that spread faster than a toddler with a tube of glitter glue, let's talk about misinformation. Because let's face it, in the digital age, a lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth has even had time to put its pants on. And when it comes to pandemics, misinformation isn't just annoying, it's downright dangerous. We're talking about everything from conspiracy theories about 5G towers causing COVID-19 to bogus cures involving essential oils and sunlight. It's like the internet decided to host a pandemic-themed game of telephone, except somewhere along the line the message morphed from wash your hands to inject yourself with bleach, which, for the record, is not something anyone should ever do. Ever. This rampant spread of misinformation has real-world consequences. It erodes trust in public health officials, fuels vaccine hesitancy, and frankly, makes it harder for everyone to make informed decisions about their health. It's like trying to put out a house fire with gasoline while a bunch of people are standing around arguing about whether water is even wet. We need to get a handle on this misinformation pandemic, and quickly, because the stakes are literally life and death. So next time you see a Facebook post claiming that gargling with mayonnaise will cure COVID-19, do us all a favor and hit that report button. Your immune system will thank you. Let's move on to another shining example of pandemic mismanagement, our treatment of healthcare workers. You know, those folks who put their lives on the line every day to save ours, often while wearing what looks like a hazmat suit made out of trash bags. We call them heroes. We clap for them from our balconies, we write them thank you notes in crayon, and then we turn around and treat them like disposable gloves, essential in a crisis but tossed aside without a second thought once the immediate danger has passed. We chronically underfund healthcare systems, leaving them woefully unprepared for surges in patients. We fail to provide healthcare workers with adequate PPE, forcing them to risk their own safety. And then, to add insult to injury, we have the audacity to complain about long wait times and burnt-out staff. It's like sending firefighters into a burning building without hoses and then getting annoyed when they come out looking a little worse for wear. Healthcare workers deserve our unwavering support, not just during pandemics, but always. They are the human equivalent of duct tape and WD-40, holding our broken healthcare systems together and making sure things run as smoothly as possible, despite being constantly stretched thin. So the next time you see a healthcare worker, do more than just thank them. Demand better for them. Fight for better working conditions, better pay, better resources. They deserve it, and frankly, so do we. Now let's talk about a topic that's about as comfortable to discuss as a sandpaper tuxedo: economic disparities, because, as it turns out, pandemics don't hit everyone equally. They tend to wallop the most vulnerable among us, widening existing inequalities and creating new ones with the subtlety of a wrecking ball through a stained glass window. It's like the pandemic is a giant game of Monopoly, except some people started with all the properties and hotels, while others were handed a rusty thimble and a go-to-jail card. Essential workers, often from marginalized communities, were forced to risk their health for minimum wage, while white-collar workers enjoyed the relative safety and comfort of their home offices. Small businesses, the backbone of many economies, were shuttered, while large corporations received massive government bailouts. The pandemic exposed the cracks in our social safety nets, and let's be honest, cracks might be an understatement. We're talking gaping chasms here, folks. We need to address these systemic inequalities, not just because it's the right thing to do, although it is, but because it's in everyone's best interest. A society where a significant portion of the population is struggling to make ends meet is a society that is less resilient to shocks, whether they come in the form of a virus, a natural disaster, or, another season of reality TV. And finally, let's talk about a concept that seems to be in shorter supply than affordable housing in a major city global cooperation. Because here's the thing about pandemics. Viruses don't respect borders. They don't need visas. They're like the uninvited guests who show up to a party, eat all the snacks, and then sneeze on everyone before leaving without saying goodbye. In a global pandemic, we're all interconnected, whether we like it or not. What happens in one part of the world can quickly ripple out and affect everyone else, and that's why global cooperation is essential. We need to share information, resources, and, yes, vaccines, in a way that prioritizes the collective good, not just the interests of individual nations. But of course, that's easier said than done. We've seen countries hoard vaccines, spread misinformation, and engage in finger-pointing rather than problem-solving. It's like watching a group project unfold where everyone is trying to take credit for the work while simultaneously blaming each other for the inevitable failures. We need to do better. We need to approach global health challenges with a spirit of cooperation, recognizing that we're all in this together, whether we like it or not. Because in the end, the only way to truly defeat a global pandemic is through a coordinated global response. So there you have it, 5 pandemic mistakes we keep repeating, like a broken record player stuck on the world's most depressing playlist. Look, the past few years have been rough. We've all been through the ringer and then some, but if there's one thing we can take away from this collective experience, it's the importance of learning from our mistakes. Let's invest in pandemic preparedness, combat misinformation, support our healthcare workers, address economic disparities, and prioritize global cooperation. Because the next pandemic isn't a matter of if, but when. And next time, let's try to handle it with a little more grace, a little more compassion, and a lot less bleach. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's work together to avoid these mistakes in the future. Stay safe and see you next time.